Is your mind your best friend or your worst enemy? Let's take a look. Okay, we're continuing this video on the principle of mentalism. And we talked about in our last episode how the principle of mentalism works in an abstract sort of way. How it is the fundamental building blocks of how the universe works. That all things, according to the Kybalion, all things are mental. Meaning that all the material, energy, and manifestations of creation ultimately are mental material. And that mental material can be manipulated by thought. Now, the question that came up was, how does this impact you? I mean, ultimately, we want to know how this impacts our lives. What does this mean to us? And how can I apply this in a way that actually makes my life better? Well, that's the point. That's what we're going to talk about today. We discussed earlier how the human brain and the human mind are related. How the electromagnetic field that is the human consciousness interacts with the physical aspects of the human brain. How your neurons actually align themselves in particular patterns based on short and long-term memory and behavioral interactions. What matters here is that your consciousness and your brain work together to form what's called your neural net. That is a pattern of neurons that have aligned in a particular way to form an electromagnetic spectrum that we call basically you, consciousness. The importance of that is this. The neural pattern that is you literally filters everything you see in and out of the world. Your five senses interact with the physical world and give information back to the brain, which your consciousness interprets and defines what the world is. Literally everything you see, hear, taste, smell, and touch is filtered through this matrix, through this pattern. It's important to understand that, because if you've ever been in a situation where someone said or did something and you heard something completely offensive or saw something where they were completely betraying you, and then it turned out later that that wasn't the case, that you had assumed something that wasn't true or misheard or whatnot. It comes from the fact that your neural pattern has filtered the incoming information, but it did so while still referencing pattern recognition, referencing a past memory that is related to that particular or similar to that particular incident, but it may not be accurate. Which means that if you were in a situation where you had a friend betray you, and then a friend of yours says or does something that is closely resembling that behavior, you may assume and place that emotion onto this new friend who had nothing to do with the original memory that caused the pain in the first place. Now, why does this matter in regards to the principle of mentalism and quantum physics? Here's why. Because as you're taking in information through your senses and filtering it through that particular matrix, it literally determines how you see the world. Now that matters because your consciousness and your physical brain are vibrating on two of the three major fields of influence. They are vibrating in harmony because they interact so closely at a near or similar frequency. Thus, if you're vibrating in a negative frequency, if you're having emotions that are related to a negative vibration, then that particular vibration is going to interact with both your physical and your mental self. Thus, the information that you are seeing is filtered through this negative vibration. They talk about self-loathing and self-hatred and the feelings of inadequacy that we all have. Your senses are filtering information through that lens. So, if you're in a situation where you are self-loathing, you don't love yourself, someone showing you love immediately causes suspicion because you don't really feel like you deserve love at some level. Therefore, everything they do is suspect. Not to mention, remember, we're interacting with this quantum field at the same time. Everything is mental. All of it's connected. Everything is made of mental material, and thus one thing affects the other. Thus, your thoughts will literally vibrate in a way that affects the quantum field around you and attracts, just like the law of attraction, those things that match that vibration. So if you are delving in, if you are consumed by negative emotions, if you are consumed by self-loathing, you will attract that which fulfills that vibrational resonance from you. Not to mention, every single time you have an emotional reaction to something, every time that you actually deeply imprint something into your memory, because emotion imprints memory, when that happens, your brain releases the neuroprotein. that neuroprotein can become addictive. So you can become addicted to anger. You can become addicted to sadness. You can become addicted to self-loathing, which further reinforces the vibration that you've already had. And like any addict, you will constantly seek more. Thus, your body and your mind will be in harmony, vibrating self-loathing. Bring to me things that will affirm this feeling about self. That's why this matters. You literally contribute to the outcome of your life and the fulfillment of your reality based on the vibrational states that your brain and your consciousness vibrate. Errant thoughts are usually just a distraction and can hinder your progress, but ultimately they aren't the end of the world. True hindrance and distraction come from negative thoughts. These are thoughts that I categorize as thoughts that are negative towards you, negative towards others, or negative towards the world or progress in general. These are hopeless thoughts. Thoughts that tell you you're not good enough, or you're not smart enough, or you can't do this, or simply bring up something negative to distract you from the project at hand. The importance of these negative thoughts is because they sap your will. They tend to distract from the progress of the project at hand, but also they make you feel less you. But most of all, negative thoughts deceive you. They lie to you about who you are. They lie to you about what you're seeing. They lie to you about what's actually happening in the world around you. Negative thoughts are designed to keep you from making progress on things. And if they have control over your mind, every time you begin something, they'll try to stop you. They're based off of something that has already happened, and they are impacting what's happening now and what could potentially happen in the future. What I mean by that is that you can have a negative thought about a failure from your past while you're in the midst of a completely new project and have it impact your performance on that project. Have it impact the interaction you're having right now. As an example, say you've been rejected before or hurt by someone before. When you begin to pursue a new relationship or try to, interact with someone that you're attracted to, that negative thought can pop up and impact the way you speak. It can make you more nervous. It can make you seem a little bit jittery and can impact how you're interacting with that person in real time. Or stop you from interacting with them altogether because you're afraid of that past rejection. Negative thoughts have an impact on our daily lives, and the ability to control them determines how much control we have over our own lives. All of this information sounds great, but it doesn't matter unless we have some way of actually countering some of the more negative aspects of this belief system or at least the vibration that we're putting out. The way this works is first, any adept must begin with self. Any exploration of this must begin with self. That's what we talked about the shadow before. The traumas that are placed inside that shadow and part of the three levels of consciousness, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the shadow. All of that self-loathing stems from traumas and even sometimes just negative thoughts that we've harbored for so long about ourselves. They're pushed into our shadow, and then that shadow vibrates that emotion out into the universe. So we must first tackle that which is within our shadow, and we call that shadow work. That is the exploration of those aspects of self, telling only the truth about who we are, good or bad, in order to tackle those. Because if we can begin to modify our neural net, we literally change the vibration of our mind and our body. We break the addiction from the neurochemicals that are related to negative emotions and realign that neural pattern to reflect this new paradigm that we're looking towards. And that requires honest self-examination with no malice, with no anger, with no sadness or regret, but a clinical, analytical exploration and then an application of the same love and affection and care and mercy and just love that you would give to a friend, someone you care deeply for. That is how we work through our issues. Therapy can help too. What matters is that exploration has to happen in order to have a profound impact on the way that we view the world, thus the way that we view ourselves, and thus the way that we vibrate to everything else. It's all related. All right, guys, I want to thank you guys for joining me on this journey through the fourth gate to begin the examination of self and our world and our universe and our relationship to it. I appreciate you sticking with me through the whole video, and I've got plenty more to come, so come back soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe in the bottom and leave a comment on your experiences with the principle of mentalism if you've already experimented with it, or if you have any questions about it, ask me there. I am Nishan, and I will see you the next time.